This week's Word of the Week, topical. St. Patrick's Day coming up. It's a leprechaun.
That's why you picked Leprechaun. Okay.
Yeah, obviously. Versus Adolf Hitler.
Okay.
And I'm going to say right away, this is
Now,
a closer...
for people who don't know, Adolf Hitler was this guy, an Austrian fella who ended up becoming a dictator of Germany.
I thought he was an author.
I only know his paintings. I only know his artwork. Maybe that could be a factor.
I watched the docuseries
on
on Hitler's Inner Circle the other day, so
Really?
I actually kind of found out how he came to power, which I guess I never really knew, and it was just kind of like this party, like it wasn't even the Nazi party yet, but like this party that was forming in Germany at the time that was like very like Nazi, like, you know what I mean, it led to. But they weren't like killing people and shit right away, and they were kind of looking for like somebody to like be the face of the party, and they're having a random meeting, and Hitler was there as a spy for like the current like German like leading party, and like was sitting there like taking notes on the meeting, and like halfway through the meeting realized like, yo, I actually agree with these guys way more than I agree with the people I'm working for now, and like stood up like randomly like mid-meeting and like gave this like huge speech about exactly what was going on in his brain, and next thing you know, he was Hitler.
This guy's a genius.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
But that was before, but that was pre like let's kill all the Jews and shit. That was just like,
I
don't
feel like
even
that
know
was
what
always on the
goal-
table for him, though. But in the back of his, I'm not saying he said it like
But-
he came out the
but it
gates at that
was-
meeting.
and this
with
is
it,
by
but
no way me coming.
wheels
to
were
the-
spinning.
This is by no way me coming to the defense of Hitler, but the documentary almost does in a sense, because it talks about how the reason that like things got to the point that they did was because it became so like his inner circle became so hyper competitive. Like they all got to the point where they needed to outdo each other, and in order to outdo each other, it ended up being like who can just slaughter the most people for.
And the most important question: can a leprechaun beat his ass?
So now we get there. Hitler, although a powerful figure, I always imagined him being rather short. I think it's the mustache.
I don't
How
know
tall? What?
he is.
Osama bin Laden was like.
I would
6'6".
go on my phone to look, but I can't because Andrew's the fucking
No,
phone.
you can
police now.
obviously.
I'm
go
afraid
on
to
your
look at
phone
my
to look
phone.
up
Yeah.
who would win stuff.
No, it's the phone police.
But Hitler's also like real, like a skinny guy. You know what I mean? Like he's a small. I think that he's just a
Did
small
you know
frame.
how many narcotics his like inner circle like doctors would put him on? He was on meth, like people do not realize how much
Yeah, he was literally
methamphetamines
batshit crazy.
the Nazi party was on.
JFK
he was
on meth.
5'9".
Yeah.
Hitler was 5'9".
Oh,
Yep.
Leprechaun beat his ass.
I think that.
Well, leprechauns, the tallest leprechaun, 2.5 feet.
Okay, but leprechauns also have magic.
But how magical are they really?
And this is the
teleport
thing,
and
though,
shit.
is I actually don't think that they are super, super magical, but I
Yeah.
think that the powers that they do have, and it's a common misconception, I think it's like black magic. I don't think, you know what I mean? Like leprechauns aren't good people.
I don't fuck with black
Yeah,
magic.
for sure. For sure.
Yeah, I
Black
mean, I would say
magic's-
that's a fair statement. I don't fuck with
magic's
black
like,
magic
yeah,
either.
Yeah, it's blood magic. I don't know.
Yeah.
Magic. Man, I think that. Yeah, I just don't know if leprechaun magic, because all you ever really see leprechauns do with their magic is like disappear right before people grab them. But but I don't think that it can be, because they don't like teleport like that, right? Like they like slowly fade, and I also don't think that. Like I've never
Like
seen
they
a
don't
leprechaun
jump spot to spot.
Right, I've never seen a
Yeah.
leprechaun go from like one corner of a room to the other corner of the room. You know what I mean? It's always like from here to back to Ireland or something.
So
have
I
no
was
idea.
actually thinking as we're having this
Imagination
conversation, this would be, if this was like World War II era, this would be a great political piece for Ireland, like saying that, like a propaganda piece saying that leprechauns could kick Hitler's ass. So we,
Was Ireland in
I don't know.
World War II?
Doesn't matter.
That gets lost. I only remember England.
It was us, Japan.
Canada. I think
Sure.
Canada was in it.
I don't even know.
See, like, it's just...
Yeah, everybody
People took a back seat.
Yeah, people only talk about 4 countries. Well, people only talk about 4. Yeah, America, Japan, England, Germany, Russia. So that's 5. Yeah.
Italy.
6. Okay, 6. Yep. Now we're just gonna go through every country in the world that was in World War II. Poland.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes,
France.
Obviously Poland.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
France.
Yeah.
Remember Monuments Men?
R.I.P. to Archduke Ferdinand.
That was
World War One.
Idiot.
Get off the show.
Guy who's eating a sandwich changed the world. What are you doing?
That's my dream.
There's actually
not to assassinate the Archduke.
I have something to bring up real quick.
Sandwich.
I didn't eat dinner. I've had a busy day. Didn't eat dinner. Actually, the only thing I've eaten all day was a quick sandwich from Tim Hortons.
Yeah.
And I asked Andrew when I got here if he had any snacks, and he said, "Yeah, I got some baked Cheetos in the closet." So I made a little baby plate of baked Cheetos for my dinner, and there's a fucking turkey sandwich with cheese sitting in the fridge.
That's like over a week old.
Okay, so that's
that's why. Yeah.
Did you
Saving
could have thrown it out?
I forgot to. I forgot it was in there.
Damn good, though.
That's why I put it in there. Well, I make great sandwiches. I'm phenomenal. I worked as a Subway sandwich artist, so I mean, they don't let just anybody do that.
No, they do not. You either have to be on drugs or you have to be Andrew.
That's correct.
What a glorious 3 months that was.
It was wacky. We talked about it last episode.
Yeah.
Back to the who would win.
Yeah, sorry.
Hitler versus a leprechaun. But leprechauns, okay, 2 things I know about leprechauns and how I think they're going to fight in this situation. Mm-hmm. I feel like they're very elusive. Mm-hmm. Like they're real scrambly and difficult to catch, obviously. That's the whole fucking Lucky Charms. The whole situation is based on he's hard to catch. But I think even if Hitler got his hands on him, he'd maybe be able to wriggle out and then crawl up Hitler and slap him a couple times like that or whatever. Yeah. And then the other thing is that leprechauns are really tricky. But Hitler's also pretty tricky. Is that fair to say?
Here's the thing I'll say about Hitler. I mean, Hitler obviously could convince people to do some crazy shit.
People don't realize how into mystic shit Hitler was.
Yeah,
though.
That's right.
I think he would
Indiana
be very.
Jones.
Yeah, he would be very. I'm basing this entirely off of Indiana Jones, and
there's truth to it.
Yes,
though. Sure, and he would just try to study him or something.
Well, here's the thing.
Excellent point.
And we say this often is I could see a leprechaun being pretty good pals with Hitler.
So I think that
outside of the Hitler murdering millions and millions of people. Yeah. But and here's another thing. When you talk about a leprechaun's magic, is I'm unaware of how leprechauns die because I feel like they live for ever. Aren't leprechauns usually super old, thousands?
Yeah, leprechauns do
but they
live
look like
for
children. So are Santa's
so
elves.
It might affect the way that you kill a leprechaun. What I'll also say is
I don't think they're immortal though. I think if you stab it, it would die. It's just that leprechauns typically don't get stabbed, so they live for a very long time.
I also think that Hitler is perceived as a very persistent person. You know what I mean? He grew. But I actually think that might not be the case. I don't think Hitler would be very persistent in his solo fight against a leprechaun.
That's another good point. When Hitler, of course, is commanding all those people, he's oh, I'm Hitler. I'm a big tough guy. But I think you're right. I think that if you get Hitler one-on-one, he'd piss his pants no matter who he's fighting.
I mean, I don't think he's pissing his pants because I think in his mind he's because that's the whole thing about Hitler is when he first stood up and gave that speech, he was just Hitler, and then throughout the documentary, you see his progression to becoming him thinking he's virtual a god.
Right. I think the drugs are probably a big part of it.
Yeah, and I don't think so. I don't think that he would necessarily be intimidated, but I don't think that he would have I mean, unless he was anti gingers, did we know that? Did he hate?
Ooh,
because
he was intrigued by them. I think same with people of twins and stuff.
Okay, so that. So I don't think I could see Hitler being super determined to go fuck this leprechaun up, even if the leprechaun. And that's the thing about the leprechaun is I think that the leprechaun's play here against Hitler would be to act as if he wasn't even trying to kill Hitler. Be very casual and leprechaun-y and then randomly kill Hitler. And Hitler wouldn't even see it coming because Hitler would be
I think that Hitler would see that coming though.
No, I don't think so.
No, because
I could see Hitler being paranoid of the leprechaun.
Yes, kind of what we just talked about, Hitler's interest in mystical things. I think that it'd probably be safe to assume that Hitler would have a pretty good understanding of leprechauns, and he would know the leprechaun's game. I don't know, books and shit.
Yeah, but I don't think books do leprechauns justice.
No, I think.
But what if it's like you're talking about
stereotypical leprechaun?
I'm not talking about
hook, line, and sinker. If this leprechaun's like, I can give you like this, that, and like.
But I don't think Hitler trusted anybody. Really,
I don't think Hitler would trust the leprechaun. But I think that the like my thing is,
I think that the leprechaun.
But I think the leprechaun outplays Hitler because I do think that there is that. Like I do think that Hitler would be trying to study the leprechaun. You know, and like see how he works. Sure. And I think that the leprechaun could kind of play into that and act the way that the leprechaun assumes that Hitler perceives him and kind of lull Hitler out of that fear state and then randomly strike and save the lives of millions of people. This leprechaun, if it wins, would be a hero.
That's true.
Like leprechauns would be put on a completely different pedestal. Like now, like people know leprechauns for two things, like being drunk and fighting or like hiding pots of gold.
Mm-hmm. I don't know.
If a leprechaun came out and killed Hitler, leprechauns would be like what's the most like powerful mythical being that you can think of?
A wizard?
Like a wizard.
Yeah.
Maybe, but like
dragon.
But I'm talking like leprechauns would be like
very well respected.
Yeah, like unicorns. Fuck with right? Like people would be like,
could be.
And I don't think that they're not well respected now. I mean, they got rainbows and shit.
Well, what the heck?
That's another thing too, though, that I think the leprechaun could use to his advantage against Hitler is the power of the rainbow.
Yeah,
I do think
maybe he shoots like rainbows out of his eyes. You
know? I guess who could say? But I do think Hitler would certainly be susceptible to the power of the rainbow, whatever that actually is.
He just chucks Skittles at him.
Yeah.
Death by Skittle. Yeah. So I guess, I mean, it's tough to say because...
Well, okay. Well, so if a leprechaun killed Hitler and became the leader of Germany, isn't that how it works? If he killed Hitler and became the leader of Germany, the leprechaun would probably... I mean, do you think the leprechaun would kind of continue with what's going on? Because maybe not. Pot of gold maybe not pretty towards, greedy, right?
Maybe not towards like greedy. Jewish people, but I do think that if a leprechaun was given that much power, there would be an underlying thought of like I should enslave the world and like run it as my own. Yeah. But that's not the basis of this fight. The fight's not leprechaun versus Hitler to rule the world.
Right.
I'm saying, and so with that being said, I think that a leprechaun would actually beat Hitler in a fight.
Absolutely.
I feel like Hitler would win. But without help, though. That
was a real forehead smack. I've never seen one of those in the wild.
I'm saying if Hitler
with his the
win.
Infrastructure, I think he would win. Because he
gets to use his infrastructure? It's not just the two of them in a room?
That's what I'm saying. Like, if at one point there was kind of a lull, I guess, and Hitler was able in that moment to be like, guards, and then two guys would come in and grab the leprechaun, I mean, that's how I think Hitler would win, again, to study him. But if that's off the table, then the leprechaun does win,
How do you capture a leprechaun?
You have to be pure of heart.
So nobody in...
So
no
Nazi will buy it. No.
Nobody in the Third Reich was taking out a leprechaun then. So that's bottom line. Leprechaun wins this fight. I'll lock it in. Jake locked in, and Andrew.
Yeah, gotta be Leprechaun.
Leprechaun. And again, at the end of the day, this is a really good propaganda piece for any government who still is trying to go against like Hitler.
Sure, the grease stain on history that is Hitler is still very present. So this could maybe finally turn the tides.
Nazis.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they ran NASA.